Authorities in North Little Rock, Arkansas have arrested 2 individuals linked to a fatal shooting and robbery at a local residence. On the afternoon of Tuesday, the 24th of June, 21-year-old Deshanti Lewis and 22-year-old Kameron Johnson allegedly broke into the home of 54-year-old Clifton Hall Jr. at 1614 Chandler Street and fatally shot him. Doorbell camera footage captured the pair approaching Clifton's home. In the video, Kameron is seen briefly speaking with Clifton at the front door before pulling a gun from his jacket and forcing his way inside. Moments later, a gunshot and Clifton's screams of pain are audible, followed by Deshanti and Kameron exiting the home. Deshanti was carrying several large bags, suspected to contain marijuana. By the time police arrived, Clifton was deceased with multiple signs of injury and trauma, including gunshot wounds. On Wednesday the 25th of June, police began surveilling a blue Honda Accord parked outside apartments at 3682 McCain Park Drive, linked to the crime through its license plate, which matched the vehicle used by Deshanti and the shooter to flee the scene. Deshanti, in a statement to detectives, claimed the father of a child shot Clifton, though she did not name Kameron directly. At 3:17 p.m., less than 30 minutes after a search warrant was issued, Kameron attempted to leave the apartment complex in the Honda. When a uniformed officer in the marked vehicle tried to stop him, Kameron fled, driving at a high speed through residential and commercial areas. During the chase, Kameron allegedly struck an officer in a police vehicle before returning to the apartment complex and escaping on foot. Deshanti was arrested at 5:35 p.m. and Kameron was apprehended later that evening at 10:50 p.m. Both are charged with capital murder and aggravated robbery in Clifton's killing. Kameron faces additional felony charges of fleeing and second-degree battery for his actions during the police pursuit. They're both currently held at the Pulaski County Jail without bond. A 28-year-old man will spend decades in state prison for fatally shooting his newborn daughter with a crossbow in 2023. On the 27th of June 2025, Patrick Proefriedt appeared in the Broome County Court in New York and was sentenced to 25 years to life behind bars. He previously pleaded guilty on the 28th of February to second-degree murder in connection to the death of his 3-week-old baby Eleanor Carey. In the early morning hours of the 26th of June 2023, authorities responded to a home at 2208 State Route 41 in Colesville, New York following a report of a crossbow shooting. Authorities said that Patrick and his wife Megan Carey got into an argument over Eleanor crying. Following the argument, Patrick became agitated, grabbed a crossbow from a neighbouring room and shot a crossbow at her while she was holding Eleanor. The crossbow bolt hit the infant in the upper torso and exited near her armpit before striking Megan in the chest. Patrick then pulled the arrow out and threw towels at Megan, telling her to stop the bleeding. Patrick tried to stop his wife from calling law enforcement and fled the scene before deputies arrived, leaving Megan to deal with Eleanor and her own injuries. When officers arrived at the home, Eleanor was found unresponsive and was pronounced dead at the scene. Megan was transported to a local hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Within an hour of the shooting, deputies located Patrick in a wooded area nearby after his car got stuck in the mud and he was taken into custody. The Broome County District Attorney's Office called the defendant's actions a violation of trust and care every parent owes to their child. A 25-year-old man is behind bars accused of fatally beating a baby his girlfriend was caring for. At 9:15 a.m. on the 23rd of June, authorities responded to a home in the 1700 block of Saxon Street in Tallahassee, Florida on reports of a child not breathing. Officials immediately tried to revive 1-year-old Kameron German, but was pronounced dead at the hospital. Initially treated as a death investigation, detectives quickly uncovered signs of foul play. An autopsy revealed that Kameron had sustained severe injuries, including multiple strikes to the head with a closed fist that ultimately caused the child's death. Upon further investigation, detectives learnt that 25-year-old Deric Young, the boyfriend of the child's babysitter, was allegedly caring for Kameron at the time. During questioning with detectives on the 24th of June, Deric initially denied hurting Kameron and said that he smoked marijuana, which caused him to want to play with her. He later broke down in tears and eventually admitted to repeatedly punching the baby after his girlfriend went to work. He said he had not been overly forceful when he struck Kameron and that he did not intend to kill her, and said that he was unaware that the blows could cause hemorrhaging in her brain. He then said he was sorry for what had occurred. The victim's twin brother was in the room during the incident, but wasn't physically harmed. Deric was arrested and charged with murder and aggravated abuse, and remains held at the Leon County Jail with bond denied. A woman has been charged after a 9-month-old child was taken to hospital after a drug overdose and a bite from a family dog. On Tuesday the 24th of June, first responders were called to a home along Playmore Beach Road in Lenoir, North Carolina. Paramedics were able to stabilize the baby before transporting the child to a hospital. The child's mother was identified as 33-year-old Hali Ann Nichols. Hali was arrested and charged with abuse with serious bodily injury and was booked into the Caldwell County Jail on a $200,000 bond. A 55-year-old man is behind bars accused of shooting 2 teenagers, killing one of them. At 7:03 p.m. on Thursday the 26th of June, police and fire department personnel responded to reports of shots fired near the basketball court and swimming pool at Douglas Park at 1401 South Sacramento Drive in Chicago, Illinois. Charles Leto, a 55-year-old lifeguard and Chicago Park District employee, allegedly shot 2 teenagers moments after the pool closed. 15-year-old Marjay Dotson suffered a fatal gunshot wound to the back and was pronounced dead. 14-year-old Jeremy Herod was shot in the neck and underwent surgery and remains in a serious condition in the ICU at Stroger Hospital with a potential brain injury. Charles was arrested at the scene, where police found him kneeling beside a gun. He allegedly said, "I'm not shot, I'm the lifeguard." He claimed the boys attacked him while he was fixing a bike, though court documents state the victims were unarmed and running away when shot. Charles also reportedly fired at a third person but missed. Surveillance video captured the incident, with families and children present at the pool. Charles was booked into the Cook County Jail on charges of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, aggravated battery by discharging a firearm, and aggravated discharge of a firearm toward an occupied vehicle. On Sunday the 29th of June, he appeared for a detention hearing at the Layton Criminal Courthouse and was denied pre-trial release. He's scheduled to return to court on Tuesday the 1st of July. A 58-year-old pastor has been arrested for allegedly soliciting inappropriate photos from an 11-year-old girl. On the 25th of June, the Marshall County Sheriff's Office in Kentucky was contacted by a family of an 11-year-old girl who reported that a pastor of a church in Aurora had requested photos of her body. Following an investigation, authorities identified the suspect as 58-year-old Clarence Hungerford of Mayfield, Kentucky, who was temporarily residing in Marshall County at the time. Clarence was arrested that same day after allegedly admitting to contacting the girl and destroying his cell phone to prevent authorities from accessing its contents. He was booked into the Marshall County Jail on charges of tampering with physical evidence and unlawful use of electronic means within the Commonwealth to induce a minor to engage in sexual or other prohibited activities. A 30-year-old man is behind bars for allegedly killing his 20-year-old girlfriend during an argument. At 1:36 a.m. on Tuesday the 24th of June, authorities responded to the Caden Apartments complex at 6112 Sparrowwood Lane in Fort Worth, Texas on reports of a shooting. When officers arrived, they found a woman laying on the floor of an apartment with a gunshot wound to her torso. Medics tried to save her, but she was pronounced dead at 2:10 a.m. The victim was identified as 20-year-old Ireanna Powe. After detectives arrived on scene, a neighbour shared Ring doorbell footage showing Ireanna and a black male with dreadlock-style hair arguing at 1:28 a.m. Several minutes later, residents heard a gunshot. About 60 to 90 seconds later, they heard a man yelling for help. When witnesses arrived at the apartment, they found Ireanna on the floor and a male resident in a white shirt and grey sweatpants standing near the door. They were the only ones in the apartment. Neighbours called 911 and tried to help Ireanna. He was still breathing at that time. The male made no attempt to contact 911 and left the scene when he knew police were on their way. He drove away in a small white Ford SUV, which was captured on surveillance video. The police database showed Ireanna had a potential boyfriend, Tyrece Fields, who goes by the nickname Chicago. Ireanna's relative arrived at the scene and told detectives that a man he knew only as Chicago had called at 4 a.m. and said she's gone. She's gone and Ireanna's dead. A witness said Tyrece was known for being violent towards Ireanna and often stayed at the house on Bong Drive in Fort Worth. On Thursday the 26th of June, officers drove to the area and found a white Ford Escape matching the vehicle that left the scene. A short while later, Tyrece walked out of Bong Drive towards a police car with his hands raised in the air, and he was taken into custody. During questioning, Tyrece declined to tell detectives where he was on the night of the shooting. Tyrece was charged with murder, and he remains held at the Tarrant County Jail on a $450,000 bond.